Billionaire discovers incredible bond between disabled daughter and dancing black girl. Heartwarming transformation unfolds. Mark Harrington, a self-made billionaire, sat at a table in the lavishly decorated local hospital, his mind drifting amidst the chatter of the elite. He was rich, extremely so, but wealth felt like a hollow echo lately. The drumming rain against the windows mirrored his increasing sense of isolation from his own family. His daughter, Lily, a 10-year-old girl full of spirit yet burdened by cerebral palsy, was like a shadow in his life, one he couldn't quite reach. As he fidgeted with his napkin, a burst of laughter caught his ear. He turned towards the small stage, where giggles erupted. A dance recital was unfolding, showcasing children from the local community. And there, in a vivid swirl of color and energy, was Mia, an unstoppable 12-year-old girl dancing with a joy that radiated like sunshine breaking through storm clouds. Her energy poured into the room, drawing everyone in. Mark's heart ached at the sight of her infectious smile. Then he glanced at Lily. She sat wide-eyed, a spark igniting in her gaze as she absorbed Mia's performance. Just like that, everything Mark had been missing slapped him in the face, the joy of connection, of pure, unfiltered love. But societal expectations held him in a chokehold. As dinner parties continued, whispers about Mia's unworthy background swirled around him. "She doesn't fit in your world," they warned. "Doesn't belong." Mark felt a cramp in his stomach, a tightness resembling chains. Conflicted emotions chased each other in his mind, eating away at his resolve. But look at Lily, he thought, is this what I want? A life where my daughter feels inferior and alone? Mark realized how Mia's spirit connected with Lily in a way he never could. Amid whispered judgments, he decided to support Mia's dance aspirations. It should have been a simple, generous act, but as soon as he opened his mouth, he felt the glare of disdain from his peers. Lily's face fell the moment she learned about it. She hid behind a curtain of uncertainty, convinced her worth was now tied to the charity of her father. Emotion swelled within him, igniting the ashes of guilt and longing. His two girls, a daughter forging her path in a world that judged her, a friend illuminating that path with brilliance. He had a chance to reconnect, but the stakes were sky-high. At the next community event, a talent show celebrating local heroes, Mark took a deep breath. This was his moment. He needed to step beyond the opulence and defenses built around him. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Mark stepped to the front of the crowd, his heart racing. "This isn't just about money," he said, his voice shaky and raw. "It's about love, real love that sees beyond status, beyond label." The energy shifted, and he felt the pressure of expectation linger in the air. He looked at Lily's hopeful face, and then at Mia's determined spirit. Would he dare to redefine his success? The applause faded, but the weight of the moment lingered as he took a step back, grappling with the reality of his choices. Would he find the humility to embrace Lily for who she truly was, or would the chains of prejudice hold them apart? Mark's heart pounded as he returned to his seat. The whispers he had feared only grew louder in his mind, an unrelenting hum of doubt. What did it mean to truly connect with his daughter? He kept replaying the scene in his head, the way Mia danced, the smile on Lily's face, and the way the world outside their bubble looked at him. What mattered more, he wondered, a facade of acceptance or the happiness of his daughter? Lily shifted in her chair, her fingers twisting the end of her hair. He could see the uncertainty clouding her bright eyes, a reflection of his own. "Dad," she whispered, "why did you?" She trailed off. The hurt in her voice sounded like a gentle knife twisting in his chest. "Because, Lily, I want you to know that you're not alone." That you don't have to feel he hesitated, searching for the right words, like you're less than anyone else. I want you to feel supported. I want you to shine. Tears brimming in her eyes spoke volumes. But it feels like charity, Dad. Her voice quavered. Like you're trying to save me. Mark wanted to reach across the table, to envelop her in a hug that would erase all doubt, all fear. But he restrained himself, the weight of their conversation holding him back. It's not charity, sweetheart. It's love. You deserve friends, real friends, not just people who pity you. And Mia, she sees you but not the way I do, or the way they do. I don't know, Dad. Her small brow furrowed, a cloud of vulnerability shrouding her innocence. What if they think I'm only getting special treatment because you're... You? The words hit him like a wall. In that moment, he realized how deeply the chains of societal judgment had wrapped around them both. Everyone assumed he was just another affluent man digging through his injury bag, trying to toss crumbs of generosity in the hopes of feeling like a hero. But he wanted more. As the event continued, Mark watched from the sidelines. He studied Mia as she rehearsed her dance, putting her heart into every movement, and then captured Lily's gaze. A moment of clarity washed over him like fresh water. He couldn't save his daughter, nor did she need saving. She needed acceptance not just from him, but from a world that was quick to judge. Let us stand together, he whispered to Lily. Let us support Mia, together. If this is how she brings you joy, that's worth fighting for. Lily's eyes sparkled for a heart-stopping moment of hope. Could they really challenge the world together? Soon, an announcement echoed through the hall. The organizers were calling for the young performers to take the stage, and Mark felt a jolt of electricity run through him. Would she take that leap of faith? Would they stand against the tide of conformity? Please, Lily, don't let fear anchor you down. As Mia took the stage and the crowd roared, Mark held his breath. That unmistakable bond he had witnessed earlier, a bond like no other, began to shimmer anew. But that was the moment the universe decided to add a new twist. A mid-performance stumble, and suddenly the air was thick with worry. The sound of gasps filled the room, and Mark's heart dropped. He looked over at Lily, and her eyes widened in shock. Would this mishap extinguish Mia's spark? What would it mean for Lily? As applause turned to tension, Mark found himself wondering if this moment would shatter their resolve or fortify it. Would they rise together against adversity? He gripped the edge of the table, ready to spring into action. What he didn't yet know was that this incident would change everything, not just for Mia, but for their family, and the very foundation of how they viewed worth and connection. As the music faded, an uneasy hush enveloped the room, thick enough to choke on. The applause quickly devolved into murmurs, and the spotlight flickered over Mia, who stood frozen on stage. Her eyes darted from the audience to the floor, panic skirting across her features. Mark's heart raced, a cold sweat beading across his brow. Lily's breath came in short gasps beside him, inducing that same fear that threatened to overpower the moment. Mia! Mark heard himself shout, the word bursting out of him like a lifeline. Her name reverberated against the walls, but did she hear him? Would she recognize his voice within the growing tide of uncertainty? She blinked, and for a brief second, Mark saw the glimmer of doubt in her bright eyes. Mark's stomach knotted. What if Mia didn't shake off this misstep? Just breathe, he said softly, his eyes glued to her. He felt Lily's fingers grip the back of his shirt, a silent plea for comfort. Suddenly, Mia took a deep breath, her body visibly relaxing. The crowd, sensing the shift, began to murmur encouragement. You can do it. Someone called out, and another person added, we're with you. Their support rippled through the room, awakening a pulse of hope. Mark looked at Lily. See? He whispered, nodding toward Mia, who had found her rhythm again, her feet gliding into motion. They want to see her shine. They believe in her. Lily's eyes met his, wide and shimmering. There was something in that moment, a kinship forged through community support. Mia was not alone, she felt it, and so did Lily. Mia's movement surged back to life as she danced, energy radiating from her like sunbeams. She didn't just perform, she expressed. Each twirl echoed vulnerability, each leap propelled by hope. The audience began to clap in unison, a thunderous heartbeat of encouragement. Mark's heart swelled. He felt the pulse of the crowd, and more than just the rhythm of Mia's dance. It was as if all that weight he'd felt lifted. This was about more than him, and more than his daughter. It was a shared moment of humanity, an invitation to witness resilience. Tears welled in Lily's eyes, and for a heartbeat, he just knew she felt it too, the connection, the understanding. "I didn't know," she murmured, breathless with awe. "Neither did I," Mark admitted, his voice nearly breaking. The performance had transformed, weaving the threads of their insecurities into a tapestry of strength and resolve. He could almost see the barrier drop. As Mia finished her dance, the crowd erupted in a standing ovation. Laughter and applause filled the space. Mark turned to Lily, hoping for a smile, but instead found her staring, deep in thought. The moment seemed to stretch, thawing the ice of doubt that had encased her. "Dad?" she said slowly, hesitation laced in her voice. "What if I tried dancing like Mia?" "What if then you will dance, Lily? There's nothing stopping you." But as Mia basked in the glow of acceptance, Mark's phone buzzed in his pocket. The jarring vibration felt like reality pulling him back, reminding him of the life he'd come from, a world of expectations. He glanced at the screen, feeling the weight of obligations clawing back at him. It was a text from his business partner, urgent, demanding. "Lily," he said, torn like a parent caught between dreams and duty. "Let's talk later about everything you want to try." Her brow furrowed again, disappointment casting a shadow. "You won't leave, will you?" "Never, sweetheart," he assured her with a fierce determination. The warmth of the moment could not extinguish the flickering flame of doubt that now danced between them. As the dust settled from Mia's performance, Mark couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was shifting. The next step looming large before them, would they embrace change together or allow distractions to lead them astray? Would he ever be truly present, caught between two demanding worlds? Just then, Mia left the stage, breathless but glowing, directly approaching Lily and Mark. Her face was alight with post-performance euphoria. "You were incredible, Mia," Lily exclaimed, and there it was, a crack in the wall of uncertainty forming into something like hope. Mark felt a stirring in his chest. Was this the bridge to connection he had hoped for? Would this experience fortify their bond, or would it merely be an oasis, gone too soon? Mia looked straight at both of them. "Can we make this a thing? Can we dance together? Like a group?" The moment hung in the air, charged with possibility, but for Mark, the weight of that text was unsettling him. Would he choose the new path unfolding before them, or allow the world outside to pull him back? Mark felt a rush of conflicting emotions wash over him as he stood in the aftermath of Mia's performance. The applause still bounced off the walls like echoes of long-held aspirations, but the text from his business partner pinched at his conscience. A group dance? He thought, staring at Mia and Lily with hope flickering in his chest like a distant star. "Yes. I mean, absolutely." Lily burst out, her eyes shining like bright pennies. "I would love that. Dad, can we? Please?" Mia grinned widely, her enthusiasm infectious. "We can even come up with our own choreography. I would love to be your dance buddy." Mark watched the girls' excitement spiral, each one feeding off the other's energy. But as he absorbed the moment, the weight of responsibilities pressed heavy on his shoulders. The text demanded his attention and prioritization, full of numbers and deadlines. Lately, it felt like he was running from fire to fire, always so focused on the next urgent task that he seldom took the time to breathe, let alone dance. Just then, the room began to quiet as attendees meandered toward the exits. Mark felt an unspoken pressure mounting. I've got to figure this out, he thought. Lily, maybe he hesitated, searching for the right words but feeling them slip through his fingers. Maybe I should check the rest of my messages first. Just to see what's urgent. Lily's face fell instantaneously, despair replacing joy in her wide eyes. But Dad, we were just talking about how you'd be right here with us. You said you wouldn't leave. I meant I just need a moment, honey. The guilt surged through him like a wave crashing onto the shore, eroding the connection they'd just begun to mend. He wished he could tell her the world was waiting for them, not just him. Mia watched the exchange quietly, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. It's okay, Lily, she consoled gently, we can just hang out and plan our dance for now. You and I can brainstorm while we wait for Dad. Mark saw the kindness in Mia's eyes, but it only deepened his internal struggle. They were at a crossroads, moments like these were fleeting and rare. Lily nodded hesitantly, her emotions swirling like a storm. Okay, but Dad, it's really important to me. There was a firmness in her voice that caught him off guard. I know, sweetie. I'm just trying to balance everything. He reached out, brushing her hair behind her ear, a simple gesture that felt heavy with promise. Look, let us just breathe for a bit. Let us go grab some snacks together before the crowd completely clears, Mia suggested, her voice cheerful and light. We can talk about dances, fun stuff, and then we can bring Dad into it. Right? Yeah. Lily perked up, the possibility of connection rekindling her spirit. Sure, Mark said, a sense of gratitude swelling inside him. Let us do that. I'm with you. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, he could see the light through those clouds of worry. The three of them headed toward the refreshments, laughter spilling from Mia's mouth like music. Each giggle felt like a subtle reminder that life could be both busy and bright. Mark's heart lightened as he joined in, but with every step, that nagging urgency buzzed beneath the surface, demanding his attention. As they lingered near the snacks, sharing dreams of what their dance could look like, Mark's phone lit up again. Another message flashed across the screen, making him squirm. The balance felt so precarious, as if one small tilt could lead him away from the joy blossoming around him. Mia caught his eye and smiled. What if we themed our dance? Something fun, like a future dance party? We can choose songs we love. Mark nodded, wanting to lean in, wanting to be present. But for every desire to unite with them, his obligations called louder. In that moment, he realized the gravity of this choice. Would he become an active participant in building this new bond, or would he let the external world overshadow the internal joy that was starting to build? The tension of the unknown crackled as they all munched on snacks. Each crunch echoed like small decisions being made amidst uncertainty. Mia broke the silence, her expression contemplative. Mark, what does it mean to you, having us dancing together? He opened his mouth to respond, but the words stuck like thick molasses as reality loomed large over him. The room seemed still, the laughter fading, and everything slowed down. Would he answer with courage, or again step back into the shadows of responsibility? Maybe, just maybe, this could be the start of something incredible. The question lingered in the air, thick with anticipation and uncertainty. What would he say? And how would that shape the pathway forward? Mark felt the weight of anticipation hanging in the air like a thick fog. All eyes were on him, and he could sense the importance of his answer. The warmth of the moment wrapped around him, but the chill of his responsibilities crept up his spine, reminding him of deadlines looming in the background. Gathering his thoughts, he took a deep breath. Dancing together, it means creating memories that last, doesn't it? He finally said, glancing at Lily and Mia. Their bright eyes urged him to continue. It's about being connected, and in a way, escaping from everything else. Just you and the music. Lily's smile grew wider, and he felt something shift in the room. The air was charged with hope, a quiet determination radiating from both girls. He hesitated again, wanting to weigh his words, but the desire to seize the moment ignited inside him. There's this precious time we can spend together. Just us. His heart surged, finally finding the courage to say what was deep inside. And if we let the world take that away, we might regret it later. Mia nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. We can create our own little world through dance. It can be our escape. Mark looked from Mia to Lily. They were sparkling with excitement, but he was keenly aware of the ticking clock in the back of his mind. Each moment spent here felt precious, and he wanted to hold on to that feeling. Why don't we start now? Lily said, her voice breaking slightly from the pressure of her anticipation. What if we just move a bit together, right here? His heart raced at the thought. The dance floor had a magnetic pull, and yet, he felt glued to his spot. The responsibility was relentless, like a tightrope walk over a chasm of expectations. Mia leaned closer, her enthusiasm contagious. Come on. You can start to feel the rhythm. And I promise, it'll be fun. It's about joining in and just being silly if we want. Mark's thoughts tumbled. He thought about the first slow dance he had ever shared with Lily when she was just a child, her tiny feet stepping on his as they swayed to the sound of "You Are My Sunshine." Those memories stirred and began to pull him. Okay. His voice was steady, surprisingly so. Okay, let us do it. Let us start planning our dance party right here, right now. The girls squealed in delight, and a wave of relief washed over him. As Mia put on a fun upbeat song, laughter erupted, filling the room with a vibrant energy that erased the weight of his worries. Mark began to sway, slowly at first, moving to the beat. Lily joined in, twirling with carefree abandon as Mia jumped into a little rhythm of her own. Mark watched, enchanted by their joy, forgetting the world outside for a moment. Every laugh, every twirl drew him deeper into this new connection. Then, out of nowhere, he accidentally stepped on Mia's foot. Oops. Sorry. He exclaimed, chuckling. It's okay. In fact, it's perfect. She giggled back. That just means you're getting into the groove. He laughed, the sound feeling vibrant and freeing. The rhythm began to flow through him, sparking renewed energy. He danced with them, not precisely or professionally, more like a dad to his daughter and her friend. It felt special, and in that moment, Mark understood the real significance of this dance. As the song played on, Mark found bits of himself, 2 bits that were hidden behind meetings, financial reports, and the daily grind. Moments like these reminded him of the magic in small things, how laughter could weave bonds stronger than steel. Just as he started to feel like he belonged in this playful choreography, his phone buzzed again in his pocket. The distraction was sharp. Suddenly, his gaze shifted back to the messages he had ignored. The urgency was back, like an unwelcome gust of wind ripping through a summer day. Mark swallowed hard and glanced at the girls, who had no idea of the battle raging inside him. Would he let his world pull him back to reality? Or could he remain here, in this precious moment of joy? Mia noticed his change in demeanor, her expression shifting from laughter to concern. Mark? Are you okay? Taking a steadying breath, Mark looked into her eyes. Yeah, I need to decide. What's really important to me right now? The song faded softly as his heart pounded in his chest, caught between the rhythm of duty and the melody of connection. What would he choose? And as silence enveloped them, he felt the weight of that choice settle. The real question trembled in the air: could he truly prioritize the bonds he was beginning to form, or would he slip back into the safety of his responsibilities? What would it take for him to embrace this new chapter? Mark stood there, the silence wrapping around him like a heavy blanket. The joy they had just shared now felt distant, almost like a fading echo of laughter that taunted him. He looked down at Mia and Lily, their faces momentarily shrouded in concern. Mark? Lily's voice broke through his thoughts, soft and soothing. "You can talk to us." The warmth of their presence clashed with the cold reality of his responsibilities. His phone buzzed again, almost impatient. It was a reminder of what lay outside this sacred moment, a world filled with meetings, decisions, and the mounting pressures of life. But here, with Mia and Lily, he felt strangely safe. There was a spark, almost like magic, that entangled them together in this room. He thought of the laughter, the dance, and the way their joy had illuminated the corners of his heart that had grown dim over the years. "I'm okay," he finally said, but the words felt flimsy. He swallowed hard, a lump lodged in his throat. I don't know how to step away from everything else. It feels selfish sometimes, doesn't it?" Mia shook her head vigorously, her curls bouncing. "It's not selfish. This is important. We're creating something special. You're not just a dad right now, you're our partner in this dance." Her words hit him. She was right. They were building memories, crafting connections that held beauty in their simplicity. But what if it doesn't last? What if Stop, Lily interjected, placing her small hand on his arm, grounding him. "You need to live in this moment. Just let go of everything else." The rhythm of the music started to swell again from Mia's device, a bright beat that beckoned them forward. Mark felt the tug of it, urging him to forget the world and dive back into innocence and laughter. He took a step closer, drawing in the contagious energy that radiated from the girls. "Okay," Mark said, the resolve in his tone sharper. "Let us do this." The music collided with his heart, urging him to sway once more. He felt like a foolish dad, but also like a man finding a lost part of himself. The old worries began to melt away as he let laughter bubble up from his chest. They took turns experimenting with new moves, blending their unique styles. Mia brought out a wild flair, twirling and spinning, while Lily matched her enthusiasm with precise energy. Mark tried to keep up. His steps were awkward at first, but the sound of their laughter swept away his fears, echoing through the room. Suddenly, Mia attempted a daring maneuver, leaping into a turn. It was so unexpected that Mark instinctively reached out to catch her, but he miscalculated. They both stumbled, collapsing into a heap of giggles on the floor. They laid there, breathless and tangled, the rhythm of their laughter echoing off the walls. In that moment, Mark realized the emotional barrier he had built around himself was crumbling. "See?" Mia said between giggles, her eyes sparkling. "This is what it's all about. We can fall, and it's still perfect." And she was right, in their imperfections, they had created something genuine. Mark felt a swell of warmth. This was connection. No deadlines, no responsibilities, just pure joy. But just as he felt he could fully surrender to this magic, his phone buzzed insistently again. The urgency was escalating, the choice rearing its head once more. The girls looked curiously at him. "Mark?" He hesitated, torn again between two worlds, feeling the weight of the decisions pressing against him. The laughter faded, and the shadows of his responsibilities crept back in. What if something urgent was happening? What if he missed an important message? But then he looked at their expectant faces, the light of hope still flickering in their eyes, and suddenly, the choice felt even heavier. Could he risk it all for another moment of joy? Would he continue to slip back into his old life or dare to embrace this newfound connection? As silence fell again, the tension thick enough to cut with a knife, Mark realized only one thing was certain. The clock was ticking, and time was running out. Would he take a leap of faith or retreat into the safety of his responsibilities? The answer danced just out of reach. Mark could feel the tension simmering in the air, thick and palpable. Time felt like it had frozen, a weight hanging over him as he glanced back at his phone. It buzzed again, insistent and demanding, echoing the reminders of his responsibilities and obligations that he had been so desperate to escape. But there, on the floor, laughter still danced between him, Mia, and Lily, a melody of connection that was calling him back. "Mark, What's wrong? Mia's voice cut through the chaos of his thoughts, her brows knitted with concern. It was as if she could sense the storm brewing inside him. He locked eyes with her, searching for the words that would both relieve the pressure and explain his internal struggle. It was getting harder to separate the man he was from the father he wanted to be. I keep thinking about work, he admitted, knowing that vulnerability was the bridge he needed to cross. That stuff can wait, Lily chimed in, her voice so earnest it made Mark's heart ache. We're here, right now. Just be with us. They were right. What if this was the moment he had been searching for? What if the memories they were creating today would one day anchor him through uncertainty? He wanted to stay in this bubble, shielded from responsibilities, watching his girls shine. Okay, he whispered finally, surrendering to their insistence. Let us dance. With that decision, the world beyond the walls felt a little less daunting. He summoned the courage deep inside him, the rhythm surged again, full of life and energy. Mark scooped Mia up, lifting her high in the air like a cheerleader, and she let out a squeal of delight. Just as he lowered her, Lily jumped, and he caught her too, their giggles intertwining. The fleeting shock of it filled him with unfiltered joy. He was no longer just a dad trying to juggle life, he was part of something larger, a dream painted in curls of laughter. They began experimenting again, trying out silly moves, and once more, they tumbled to the floor, spilling over each other in heaps of giggles. But this time, Mark was acutely aware of the gap that had narrowed between him and the girls. He could feel their trust wrapping around him like a warm embrace. I was their anchor, and they were the sails catching the wind. Let us create our own dance, one that nobody knows. Mia exclaimed, excitement lighting up her eyes. Yeah. Lily piped in, her imagination sparking with possibility. Mark laughed, his heart full. Okay, show me what you've got. In that moment, they moved and twirled freely, choreographing a blend of steps that reflected all their individual styles. Mark found himself lost in their rhythm, and soon enough, he was spurring them on, suggesting ridiculous moves that made the girls roar with laughter, but as he watched Mia, her spirit so wild and fierce, the question nagged at him, would she always have this energy? In those fleeting moments, he saw her heart, raw and unfiltered, dancing like sunlight kissing the ground. Yet another buzz vibrated next to him, gravely reminding him of reality. Mark instinctively reached for his phone again but hesitated. The girls paused mid-move, sensing the shift in the atmosphere. Is it work? Lily asked, her innocent eyes wide with hope that it wasn't. He looked at his phone, considered the message, thought of the meetings and demands waiting on the other end of that device. But in that moment, he found clarity. The laughter, the joy, those were the things he wanted to hold on to. Could he really let this slip away again, when it felt so precious? Mark's heart raced. He realized he stood on the brink of a choice, the weight heavier than before. What if he chose to ignore the buzz, chose laughter and love over deadlines, over numbers that didn't measure happiness? What if this moment, this very second, was what mattered most? And just like that, another thought invaded his mind. Would that choice truly shift the tides of his life? As silence hung in the air, a whisper of courage stilled his hand from reaching for the phone. It was time to redefine what success meant to him. What would happen if he took that leap? Would he dance into a new chapter or remain standing in the shadows of his past? Mark felt both exhilarated and terrified as he lowered his phone, the vibrations fading into a distant memory. He stood there, caught between two worlds, one where responsibilities ruled, and another where his heart danced freely with his daughters. Daddy, come on. Show us your moves. Mia cheered, her laughter a beacon that pulled him back into their bubble of joy. He took a deep breath, the sound of their giggles igniting a fire within him. Instead of thinking about the corporate ladder or the endless emails, Mark surrendered to the moment. He pulled the girls close, and they formed a circle, each of them radiating energy. Okay, how about we start with a spin? He suggested, a broad grin spreading across his face. They stood side by side, arms linked, and spun wildly in place, laughter spilling over like a waterfall. Mark felt the tension begin to unravel, each twirl a small victory against the pressures of life outside those four walls. He hadn't realized how much he needed this, how healthy it was to laugh without holding back. With each new dance move, he was shedding layers of doubt, fear, and the tightly wound knot of responsibility that had been gripping his chest. "Let us pretend we are in a dance-off," Lily squealed, her eyes sparkling with possibility. "Oh yeah? What are the rules?" Mark asked, fully embracing his role as the goofy dad. "First one to fall down loses," Mia declared, her playful smile urging her father on. "Okay, I'm ready for that challenge." He laughed, determined to keep up with their youthful exuberance. They took turns showing off their best wobbling and spinning moves. Mark exaggerated every step, mimicking the silly dances from a viral video he'd seen. Within moments, the living room transformed into a stage, the girls cheering as he attempted a ridiculous cartwheel that ended with him rolling across the floor. They gasped and then erupted in laughter as he feigned injury, rolling a bit too dramatically. In that laughter, Mark felt the weight of life finally lift. His mind was no longer plagued with thoughts of unpaid bills or missed deadlines. He basked in the warmth of their joy, their authentic, unfettered happiness. This was what he needed, what they all needed. "Do you remember when we danced at Grandma's birthday?" Mia asked between breaths, her cheeks flushed with laughter. "Oh yes. When you two wore those hilarious hats. What if we make those our dance-off hats?" Lily jumped in excitedly. "Like costumes for our competition." The idea took root, and soon, they were scrambling around the house gathering materials. Bright scarves, oversized glasses, and even some old dapper hats from a forgotten closet came into play. They draped each other in mismatched outfits, enjoying every ridiculous choice they made. Mark paused for a moment, watching as his daughters giggled while pulling a feather boa over Mia's shoulders. The visual struck him, two shining lights, completely carefree and joyful. It hit him deep, knowing he wanted this essence of life with them to reflect in every corner of his world. "What if we invite your friends over for a dance-off?" he suddenly suggested, feeling a spark of excitement. Mia and Lily exchanged glances. "Yes." They shouted almost in unison, bouncing with glee. As they invited their friends to join, Mark felt a new surge of hope. Maybe this was the way to integrate more joy into their lives, starting with this little dance-off. The thought of community, laughter, and creating memories felt like a tapestry he was weaving for their future. But in the back of his mind, a shadow of doubt lingered. Would it stay? Would this feeling last when they returned to the routine of life? As the girls chattered about their dance plans, Mark made a silent promise to remember this moment. To fight for more bright days filled with laughter, even when life tried to edge back in. "Okay, first things first. We need a name for our dance crew." He grinned. "Let us call it the Laughter League," Mia suggested. "The Silly Dance Society," Lily added. "Or maybe, the Giggle Gang," Mark finally threw out, chuckling at their enthusiasm. The air crackled with excitement as they debated back and forth until the perfect name was decided. He could see how the hope in their eyes shimmered like stars. But as they settled on the Joy Brigade, Mark felt a warmth envelop him. As the world outside loomed, he wondered, could he truly build a bridge to a life filled with laughter and love? Could the dance-off be the beginning of a brighter path? With the night deepening and anticipation buzzing in the air, Mark realized this was just the start. What if the better life he envisioned was within reach if only he kept dancing? As he caught Mia and Lily's wide grins, his heart soared. What would it take to keep this momentum alive, even when the music faded? The next morning brought a different kind of energy. Sunlight poured through the kitchen window as Mark sipped his coffee, the mug warming his hands. He could hear his daughters giggling in the living room, their excitement crackling through the air like static. The day of the dance-off had officially arrived. Daddy! Come see what we made. Mia chirped, her voice laced with eagerness. Mark set his coffee down, his heart racing as he took the few steps into the living room. What he saw stopped him in his tracks. The girls had created a colorful stage from pillows and blankets, turning their living room into a dazzling arena. Sparklers made of shiny foil decorated the corners, and a banner hung overhead, reading the Joy Brigade dance-off. Wow! This is absolutely amazing! He exclaimed, his eyes gleaming with pride. Wait until you see our costumes. Lily said, spinning around in her mismatched getup. A bright pink feather boa trailed behind her as she struck a pose. Mark admired their creativity. Each outfit was a riot of colors, with odd combinations that somehow worked in their favor. They had truly brought the spirit of the dance-off to life. After the initial excitement, the reality set in. Friends were on their way. Would they want to join in on this spontaneous celebration? The fear crept back, whispering doubts about how the day would unfold. What if the other kids found their dance crew silly? What if the flow of joy they had built was disrupted by the outside world? Hey, everything's going to be just fine. Mark encouraged himself. He knelt down to the girls' eye level. Ready to show everyone what you got? With you. Mia said, her eyes dancing with determination. Oh, I'm definitely going to try to keep up. Mark playfully claimed, and they all burst into laughter. They spent the next hour preparing, practicing their moves, and tuning in to their favorite songs. The familiar rhythms filled the room, inviting them to dance freely. The house vibrated with joy, bonding them even closer as they moved together like a well-rehearsed team. Soon, the doorbell rang, and a wave of excitement struck Mark. He opened the door to find Mia and Lily's friends, equally bright-eyed and bouncing. Each child entered with their own flair, excited to be a part of something so fun and unique. Wow! Look at all the cool costumes! One of Mia's friends exclaimed. That's awesome! Another chimed in, eyes wide as they took in the colorful chaos. Mark felt a rush of relief wash over him as the laughter and chatter filled the room. Children ran to join the girls, forming a circle where everyone began to twirl, mimicking each other's silly moves. Mark watched, his heart swelling. This was what he had been hoping for, the pure joy of children connecting through creativity and laughter. It made the worries of adulthood fade in comparison. But just as he settled in the happiness of the moment, a familiar feeling slipped back in. Was he doing enough to create a lasting bond, not just in dance-offs but in every part of their lives? Would this kind of joy survive when they had to face the heavier realities of life? With a growing sense of urgency, he joined the circle, breaking into dance with his wide, goofy moves. Come on, join the Joy Brigade! He shouted, rallying the children. And as they danced around him, he felt the chains of responsibility ease a little more. Yet, deep down, a question bubbled. If this moment was so sweet, how could they keep it alive? Could he find a way to infuse more dance, more laughter, into every day? As the dance-off continued, Mark realized the dance was really about life, and he was determined to keep moving. And just as he thought the day was a perfect depiction of love and laughter, he caught a glimpse of the fading sun through the window. What unforeseen challenges awaited them as twilight approached? Would the shadows bring back his worries? The thought lingered in his mind as he twirled, lost in the music and fleeting joy. The day of the dance-off blossomed into a shining success, brightening the corners of Mark's heart he didn't know needed illumination. The laughter of children rang sweetly, a melody of innocence binding them together as they spun wildly under the warm glow of fairy lights. But even in the joy, shadows of worry loomed in the corners. As he watched Mia and Lily lead their friends with unyielding enthusiasm, Mark felt a swell of gratitude and concern, the kind that struck at the core of every parent's heart. Hey, let's take turns and cheer each other on! Mia yelled, her voice a beacon of bright energy that cut through his thoughts. Mark joined in, clapping, twirling, and laugh-coughing while kids showcased their best moves. Their giggles wrapped around his heart like a reassuring hug. Yet, the wild joy also illuminated the question shadowing his mind: how to hold on to this magic beyond today. As the dance-off continued, Mark found himself gravitating toward the thought that this moment was just a day to have fun. It was a mission, a bridge he needed to build between laughter and the sometimes dull grind of adult responsibilities. But how? The looming expectation still felt heavy, clamoring for his attention like a relentless chorus demanding he listen. "Dad! Come watch this!" Lily squealed, pulling him back into the whirl of childlike joy just as a wave of resolve washed over him. "Do you believe in the Joy Brigade?" Mark smiled, a warmth spreading through him, and answered, "I believe in this moment. So much." But as Mia twirled with Lily, the burdens of life crept back, nagging for clarity. He couldn't obscure his worries entirely, but perhaps he could change how he approached them. Pause, he thought. Watching the kids dance, their cheeks flushed with excitement, he realized that the freedom they embodied could inspire his life too. What if life was a series of dance-offs, moments to engage fully, embrace imperfections, and challenge reservations? If laughter could fill the space between their hearts, why couldn't it color his world, too? These realizations twirled through his mind as if the very rhythm of life echoed through those bright-eyed children. The dance-off continued, children forming a chaotic yet joyous whirlpool of bright colors. Mia and Lily took the spotlight, leading their friends in a routine that felt truly special. Mark caught himself cheering as if he were part of the performance, and for the first time in a long time, he felt the strains of responsibility slip away. Suddenly, Mia called, "Okay. Let's do a flash mob." With the energy of the moment surging like a wave, everyone began to chant, "Joy Brigade! Joy Brigade!" The sound swirled around the living room, lifting Mark's spirit even higher. In that collective cheer of innocent exuberance, he decided whatever lay outside this sanctuary, he could meet it with a heart filled with the same spirit. "What if we make this a regular thing?" Mark suggested, the words popping out before he could talk himself out of it. He could feel the anticipation rising. "Dance-offs every month? We can even share it with our community." The room erupted into excitement. "Yes!" the kids shouted, pumping their fists into the air. Lily beamed at him, her face radiant with hope. Mark leaned down to whisper, "Do you believe we can make it happen?" "Totally," Lily replied, her eyes alight. And in that moment, Mark felt something shift. It was no longer about balancing work with being a dad, it was about integrating these moments of pure, unblemished joy into the rhythm of their daily lives. As the sun dipped lower, casting a golden hue through the windows, Mark gathered everyone in a huddle, all buzzing with anticipation. "All right, Joy Brigade," he announced, smiling wide. "Let's make this a tradition everyone can join." Cheers erupted, filling the air with hope and laughter that echoed through the room and spun around Mark like the joy-boosting spins of a dance, a glorious, shared commitment to keep the vibrant connection alive. Somehow, forging a new routine didn't feel like a chore, it felt like an adventure. That moment, under the fading sunlight, became a promise, a commitment to build on the warmth they created during the dance-off. Life was a series of dances after all. And this time, Mark didn't want to forget the rhythm of celebration. As dusk slowly curled around their little world, Mark held close to the quiet thrill humming through him. He was stepping into both roles, billionaire and dad, not out of obligation, but out of pure love. They would dance like it mattered, side by side, in a world that sometimes forgot how to celebrate the small joys. This was the beginning, and he was grateful for every step forward. Here's to many more joyful dances. He raised his voice above the cheers, but for now, he squeezed Lily and Mia into a hug, capturing their radiant spirits as if they were the very essence of connection itself, each pulse echoing with laughter, love, and a promise to keep dancing, no matter what shadows lurked at the edges. As the night fell, and the kids drifted into playful chatter and laughter, Mark knew one thing for certain: this was only the start of something beautiful. "Let's dance," he called out once more, and as he spun into the whirl of joyful chaos, he felt alive, more alive than he ever had before. you need to subscribe now to catch the journey ahead of these three beautiful souls. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this heartwarming transformation. And don't wait not even one more second to share instantly this story with at least 5 friends who need to see this dance of life. Let us spread the joy together.